Court will come to order. It is Monday, October the 16th, 2023. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the Kerr County Commissioners Court is convened in a special meeting. And we're going to adjourn into executive session, and should probably be 5 or 10 minutes, and we'll be out. So with that, we'll retire to executive session. It is 1:10, we kind of executive session. We have no action items as a result of executive session. And we'll move on to the consideration agenda. Item 3.1 that I placed on the agenda was to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to appoint a commissioner for precinct 1 to fill the unexpired term. There is no action required by this court. That is solely, the authority to do that is solely vested in the county judge by the Texas Constitution and has been since 1876. So there's been a lot of talk about what I can and can't do. And so I want to read a statement. I know we're on YouTube, but I want to put things in context because then I'm going to start with telling you what the conclusion is before I get to the conclusion. I do not have jurisdiction to do anything involving Commissioner Blue. Now, let's back up and let me show you how that is. A quo warranto proceeding can only be brought by state prosecutors. County Commissioner's Court, county judge has nothing to do with it. Our county attorney recused herself rightfully because of the conflict of interest from having represented all of his collective. So that only left district attorneys and the attorney general. And they have prosecutorial discretion to do what they think is right under the circumstances. They conduct an investigation, they make their own determination. And in this case, ultimately, as a result of that investigation, there was a decision made by the district attorney for the 198th District Court to bring a quo. I say warranto because I can't say warranto, but that's what it technically is in Latin. To bring that proceeding. Kerr County had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with it other than was aware that it was going on and monitored it along with our county attorney just as where we were with it. But when a district court orders the removal of a county official or employee, then this court must comply if it applies to us. And that's the only option we have. You either follow the order or you're in contempt of court. It's that simple. Ballew's quo warranto proceeding was initiated by criminal investigation in the 198. The basis of the claim was a 1973 felony conviction to which Ballew pleaded guilty and was placed on 10-year probation, which he completed successfully. Felony convictions carry certain disabilities, such as prohibiting certain convicted felons from voting, holding public office, or serving on juries. Ballew failed to disclose his felony conviction before running for public office and getting elected, which is a misdemeanor offense, but the investigation found that the new misdemeanor crimes were barred by the statute of limitations. The 198th DA decided to bring the quo warranto action to remove Ballew from his office, and the Kerr County Commissioner's Court was not involved at all, other than as an observer. The quo warranto action was referred to a visiting judge from San Antonio, the Honorable Sid Harrell. Ballew retained Patrick Gofield to defend the action. His defense was that he thought he was on deferred adjudication and his conviction would be automatically removed. The Tarrant County records reflected his signed guilty plea, but the last page of the judgment was missing from the record. Ballew's position was that his conviction was not final because the missing page and the alleged deferred adjudication. The state maintained the conviction was in fact final from a reading of all the available records and the fact that deferred adjudication was not legal in Texas until 1975, 2 years after the offense. The hearing was set for September 29 of this year. Throughout this entire period of time, Commissioner Ballew was permitted to fully participate in Commissioner's Court. At the hearing on September 29, Judge Harrell granted the state's quo warranto based upon Ballew's prior felony conviction and ordered him removed from office effective September 29. Ballew immediately filed a request to suspend enforcement of the judgment pending an appeal to the Fourth Court of Appeals in San Antonio. He was unable to continue his duties as commissioner until the trial court, that's Judge Harrell, ruled on his request. Last Friday, October the 13th, the court overruled his request and upheld his removal from office. The effect of Judge Harrell's ruling is that Commissioner Ballew cannot serve as Commissioner of Precinct 1 while the case is on appeal. The Kerr County Commissioner's Court does not have jurisdiction to overrule the order of the District Court, which is a superior court. Only the appellate court has the authority to supersede Judge Harrell's order. Disregard of the District Court's order on September 29 would be contempt of court, which is a very serious matter, and as the county judge, I am powerless to do anything except comply and await the appellate outcome. That's a jurisdictional issue. Now, with that, I have made the very controversial decision to go ahead and fill this vacancy. And the reason for that is, number one, it is imperative that there be representation in precinct 1. But from a personal point of view, I don't like repeating mistakes that I've made before, and I don't want to make the same mistakes. The Texas Constitution provides that the county judge is the sole authority to appoint a successor to a vacant commissioner's seat. In 2014, and Heather will probably remember this, when Commissioner Ayler died, Judge Pollard, who was the county judge at the time, did not take applications. He did not even entertain the resumes that were sent in, and I know this because I sent one. And he made the decision solely on the basis of his judgment that Bob Reeves was the person that he wanted to appoint to that bench for the remainder of the term. And that's exactly what he did. And he did it with that booming baritone voice of his in a very assertive and decisive way. My feelings were kind of bruised about that. I thought that I ought to get a hearing or something, or at least a nod, but I got nothing. And yet, my friendship with Judge Pollard continued. But I thought, when I get a chance, I'll do it differently. So then along comes 2021, and Commissioner Moser resigns. And so, I set out and did the most far-reaching process that I could to reach out, to make the post a position, leave it open for a month, take applications, interview people. We had over 30 applications that came in. 15 or 20 of them said they were going to run for the position, and a few said they were not. And that was a hotly contested election, as you can attest to. But I made the decision at that time, thinking that I was making the right decision. I think you get the gist that I don't think I made the right decision that day. But I made the decision that I was not going to put somebody in that position if they were going to run for the seat. But I did put what I thought was the best person that applied, because Beck Gibson was truly an outstanding commissioner. And for those of you that do not know him or have never worked with him, it's your loss. Let me tell you, he's a jewel. And as he was wrapping up his term and you were getting ready to take office, he and I had a long talk about, would we do it that way again if we had to? And you got to know that Beck Gibson has been a close personal friend of mine for over 30 years. I've entrusted the most sensitive decisions in my family to Beck Gibson. And we both agreed that we wouldn't do it the same way again. That he really did like the job. He complained that it took him about a year to learn the job, which I think Don and I will both attest to. You're in the process. About a year to learn the job. And just about the time he was getting really good at doing the job, it was time for him to go. And had we not done it the way that I did it, he would have run for election. Now, would he have won? I don't know. The people decided who wins. That's what that's all about. My job is to put somebody in this position for the remaining 14 months, 14 and a half months, whatever it is, that can best do the county's work. The county, unlike the city, does not have a city manager. We don't have a staff. We do the work ourselves. It comes right down to each one of us doing our fair share of what needs to be done. But now we're to the point that there were 3 mistakes I wanted to talk about. One was my expectations when I sent my resume to Pollard, or to the court. I sent it to the entire court. And the second one had to do with I would have done it differently with Beck if I knew now what I didn't know then. And the third mistake that I don't want to make is I had an opportunity to do something historical with the last appointment that I did not do. And that's shame on me. This court needs diversity. If you look up here, there's only 4 of us left, but we're all a bunch of white guys. We're all on Medicare. This is not the face of Kerr County. It's really not. And the time has come to do something historical, something that I will be proud to be remembered by, even though I'm going to be probably lynched on the way out. And that is, I have decided to appoint the best qualified woman to this bench. Now, there are those of you that say, well, you're discriminating on the basis of gender. No, I'm equalizing on the basis of gender, and it's not anywhere close to equal. One seat on this court is 20%. But it's time that it be done. And I expect to be criticized for it. Let that be my legacy. And so I picked Ann Overby to appoint as Commissioner of Precinct 1 because I've known her for over 30 years. I've taught her Sunday school. I've taught her kids Sunday school. She's taught Sunday school to my family. I know her and Corinne very well, her kids. And she is a very, very impressive young woman. And for those of you in the room for my age, she's a young woman. And she's not on Medicare, which I think right now ought to be a criteria for this job. She's married to Kerwin, who's a CPA here in town. They have 2 children. Ann and Kerwin met at UT. Kerwin tells the story that when he first asked Ann out, she declined the date. And later reconsidered. And he married her, and she's 5 foot 12 inches tall. And a wonderful person. She's worked for Lamar Smith, our former congressman, since 2002. She works at Chip Roy now. She has impeccable creds. She has dealt with every conceivable political position under the sun. Red, blue, doesn't matter. She's had to deal with them all. And she's done it with grace and finesse. And she's been very active in the community. She's been active in the Fourth on the River, the Arcadia Live. She's been very active at the church and a VBS teacher and a lay leader. She serves on the Main Street Advisory Board. She was president of the Charity Ball. She serves on the Kerr County Historical Commission. She did project graduation, and that's a job if you've never done one of those. This is a Renaissance woman, and it is my great honor and privilege to appoint her. And I understand there may be opposition to that, but it is my authority and my privilege to do that, and I do it gladly. And I'm excited about the prospects for the county. I understand some people want to speak. That's fine. I want to advise you that I have to leave at 1:30. I have a very important doctor's appointment I need to make. Remember, I am on Medicare. And so, with that, the floor is open for discussion.
It's a good selection.
Okay?
Made mine in executive session.
Yeah.
Disappointed that you're unhappy with the process that led to Tom Lozier's replacement.
No,
Hope
Rich,
that's not,
don't take that personally.
Well, I do. That's all right.
Beck was very close, and
I realize
we wish
that.
we hadn't done it that way.
I still, that was the one thing I truly admired you for, was for having a very open, transparent process, and you stuck to it. And I was grateful that you did. I wish you would have applied that here and had a little more open process for selection and ultimate appointment at your decision. But I do think that you should not tip the scale in any candidate's favor, and presumably Ann Overby will be running, and this will tip the scale. And I'm disappointed.
Probably on the negative side. George, you got a request to talk? You want to talk?
Good luck.
George Brewery, 1616 Glen Road. I appreciate that introduction. So, to a couple of comments you made, you made mistakes in this process, and I've outlined them before. I'm not going to do them again, except to say, if you're going to tell us that the court has nothing to say or do about something, then sit on your hands and keep your mouth shut. You went public on your opinion on the situation, and to me, that was a detriment to the court. I came prepared to say nothing against anybody you were going to appoint. Clearly, the law says you get the sole right of final say on that appointment. Doesn't mean you had to make it unilaterally, and also, I don't understand if the The proceedings with Mr. Ballou, he has like 3 or 4 days left to file an appeal. It's my understanding he hasn't filed one. Why bring this forward 3 or 4 days ahead of that when it would have been cleaner to wait till that appeal process is over? Because you have the awkward situation now, if he was to file an appeal and win, to have to remove somebody you just appointed to reinstate him, which you could have saved everybody the trouble and wait till Monday, which is your next court meeting, outside that window, and done it there. I was also prepared to come ask the other ones, seeing as how this is more of a show, since it's just one person's vote, I was gonna ask the other ones, let's all just leave together and let you provide the show yourself, because this is your show. I'm sure you asked them their opinion back there, but probably told them, you know, it's great that you guys have an opinion, but I'm going with this. And at that point, as it sits right now, it looks like, you know, the appearance is that they support this decision. Don't know if they do or don't. As a voter in precinct 1, I take offense to the fact that nobody in precinct 1 is giving input in this decision. Because it's my understanding you don't live in precinct 1, they don't live in precinct 1, yet we're the ones being disenfranchised in this whole process. And whoever you want to blame for that, that's your right. But at the end of the day, we're the ones taking the hit. And so I would, like I say, it's too late now because the decision's already been made, but I still invite you all to leave with me. I'm gonna leave now. Thanks.
Well, I'm leaving in a couple of minutes, so nobody needs to get up, I'll be going. We don't have to bother. Anybody else want to address the court?
Judge, I'll make a brief comment. You know, I'm not going to go into what we talked about executive session because I can't, but the decision is yours. And, you know, whether individual commissioners, myself included, agree or disagree with the decision, you made your decision. The Constitution allows you to make that decision. It's been done that way other times. So it's not like it's a new format. But it's important for this whole court and the community to welcome it. This court has got to work together. Regardless of your opinions and feelings of how the process was done, I think we need to welcome her and work with her because it's vital for this community for us to have a good working relationship together.
I agree with that, and I'll do everything in my power. Mr. Wolf?
I'm Jerry Wolf. I live at 509 North Buckboard. I concur with Mr. Rudy's comment, but I wanted to add one thing, just maybe procedural. But yesterday I checked the county's website and this meeting was listed as it probably should have been. This morning I checked, or late this morning, about 11:30, and there's nothing. This meeting is not listed on the Lake City's website, the county's website any longer.
I don't know anything about that. We'll check with Lisa Walter and IT, but there's no reason I know that it shouldn't have been up there.
Okay. I just, again, for lack of it, it's a little bit of lack of transparency. I think this is a very important meeting for everyone in Kerr County to have attended if they've been notified. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, there being none, we are adjourned.